Hi, I'm Kumindini Pereira. David, I am 43 years old. I am Kumu from Voice with Kumu, and I am a voice coach and an artist.
Hi, my name's Adi Banwar. I just turned 20. I'm a law undergraduate.
Hi, my name is Akid. I'm 23.
Hi, my name is Shamindri Desera. I'm a writer, a cosplayer.
Hi, I'm Sadira Sitampalam. I'm 21.
Hi guys, I'm Ashanta Pereira. I'm 30 years old and I'm a musician, photographer, videographer, also radio for 11 years.
Effects of abuse on social media are worse than effects of abuse offline.
I personally think that because it's social media and because, as you said, they are actually widespread, there is a more chance of being exposed for the harassment that actually happens on social media as opposed to offline. Because if you take so many, effects of harassment that basically happened before social media even became a thing, there were so many things that get swept under the rug. You get bullied or harassed at school or something like that. All of that gets swept under the rug. But social media always leaves some sort of a digital footprint. So generally, whatever happens on social media, it is possible to kind of like trace it back and kind of expose the harassment as it happens or after it happens.
Social media, whatever said and done, has a physical distance from you. For example, let's take rape. Right? You cannot, there is no way on earth you can compare any abuse you get on social media against being raped. Right? The violation that happens in a physical contact is more traumatic than something that happens conceptually, which is what happens on social media. It is subjective. Whereas physical abuse is very objective. It is violence aimed directly at you and there is physical damage to you. So there will always be one person who will either publicly or privately reach out and say, how are you? Are you okay? Whereas if it's rape, it is very, very isolated. And unless you go and talk to someone and get help, there is no chance on earth that you will get help otherwise.
I have not been taken seriously because of my lack of experience or age.
I left school when I was 16, like right after O-levels. I started working at a marketing firm. I left there because I was given like big accounts to handle. And it turns out that none of the big people at the company even knew I was handling these accounts because nobody even bothered to tell them. And when it came to the time that I ended up quitting, they were like, oh, now we'll give you a raise for this because now we need you. Because now we realize what you can do. Because the thing is, I was doing so much for them, but they didn't even realize, they didn't take notice, they didn't really care. I was basically taking on more work than I should have at that age. I decided, you know what, I'm not going to take this anymore. You guys either pay me what I'm owed, pay me what I'm worth, or I'm out the door. And I did it. I left and I ended up at the place that I am now, a place where I'm very happy, a place where I'm actually appreciated, and where no one underestimates me for my age, definitely.
Someone else's sexuality or characteristics has made me judge them.
So I think it's natural to just automatically judge anyone. So that's why I came here to Saudi Arabia. But the point is to not treat them any different based on that judgment.
I feel like for me personally, sexuality, there are certain people who have it's one thing to kind of be accepted, but it's also another thing to kind of scream in your face by things that they might do on social media or anywhere else, where there's basically pushing their sexuality on your face and saying, hey, accept me, accept me. You know, it's kind of like you kind of go in the opposite direction whether you like it or not. Then it becomes something that's uncomfortable.
Judge them as in, the word judge is a bit harsh because I don't like add negative value to it, but then when I see someone from a different sexuality, like I judge them or I place them in terms of how I could relate to them or like become friends or even have a conversation or make them feel comfortable, because at times you can see the common gaze and everyone's looking at someone weirdly, and I really don't stand for that. So that's the only way I judge them in terms of how I could relate to them. And secondly, I've never judged their capabilities because most of them have been working with me in professional environments mostly, and even in school. But then I've never really judged them for what they're capable of. That has never been a question. It might sound a bit unrealistic, but I've made it a point to like never judge anyone.
Sexualizing a woman is far worse than sexualizing a man.
You sexualize the person. With the woman or man, same feeling, you are damaging and traumatizing a person. I don't think gender has anything to do with it.
It's not just about sexualizing, right? It's also about consequences. But from what I've seen from personal experiences, when you sexualize a woman, the consequences that actually like happen to like women tend to kind of be a little bit worse than what happens to men, unfortunately. Right? And it is what it is, right? Because we don't live in a perfect world. In a perfect world, the same consequences that happen to women should also happen to men, but then those consequences probably wouldn't exist in a perfect world.
I disagree with the fact that girls have been abused more than men, because, our own statistics disprove it. Boys are actually abused more than girls. According to the Colombo statistics, boys are sexually abused more than girls.
Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed this particular episode. Make sure to like, subscribe, and everything that you want to say, any thoughts that you might have about this episode, make sure you drop it down in the comments, and we'll see you in the next episode.